So the first Descendant crossplay beta ended, and as promised, here's my honest review of this game. Nexon did invite me to play their crossplay beta, and I also did get to their content creator program, but still, this doesn't mean that they are safe from my criticism. I would like to be brutally honest with my review of how I feel about the first Descendant. I don't want to be that evil dude, but it feels weird seeing review lover praising the game when other reviews trashing the game when all they did is run around with their bunny. I would like to give you all the details about my experience playing the crossplay beta with an accumulated playtime of 60+ hours. I managed to finish all the hard content that the crossplay beta has to offer and somehow got the basic and advanced ideas on how Nexon's game will work in terms of grind and monetization. So there are lots of things to discuss here, beginning with the Nexon scare. Most of the time I see comments like this game will be left for dead by the developer after a few years. The developer is notorious to gamers for creating games, then letting it die after a couple of years. For those who don't know, Nexon is most famous in games like Vindictus and Maple Story. Honestly, I have never tried these games before, but players are saying that Nexon is more towards mobile gaming monetization, wherein it's pretty heavy when it comes to grabbing your cash, like all this buy this now and buy this later, ads are plastered all over your screen. There's this comment circulating, rumors that are suggesting that the developer will ruin the first Descendant by employing cash grab tactics. Like I have said, I never played a game developed by Nexon, but I've been addicted to a game that has been published by Nexon. You may recall Dragon Nest, the action RPG with insane skill-based gameplay which many got hooked. The game was developed by Identity Games, and it was published by Nexon, so probably they have something to do with the monetization of the game. Now, Dragon Nest is a fantastic game, not because it has interesting dungeon-type boss fights, which you and your team will need to try and learn the mechanics of defeating different dragon bosses in the game. The PvP of Dragon Nest is also insane and back in the days. It was the Neraka blade point of my era, as that was the first game I know that you are able to perform combo maneuvers to your enemies, and it's not all about gears, but how you use your class properly against other players. Gameplay is good, the story was forgettable, and the monetization is bad in my opinion. The game is selling cosmetics with stats, and it does give you an advantage against PvE content in the game. So basically, players are sometimes forced to purchase these equipments just to gain a leverage against bosses. This kind of monetization are often targeted towards those gamers we call whales, or those who have fear of missing out. It's kind of funny because I see a lot of players with their costumes in the game, but all I can do is get jealous since I was broke during my time with Dragon Nest. There was this one mode that changes your appearance, and you can equip any costumes just like Final Fantasy cosmetics, but you are the only one who can see it. That's the only thing I was using, and it feels great to look fancy in your eyes while not spending anything. Now, in the first Descendant, the beta shows a glimpse of its monetization. They have this premium currency called credits and caliber. Credits are the currency you need to hasten your progress in the game. You want the research Gley without diving to the hard void intercept bosses? Then you can simply buy her materials in the event resource shop during the beta to build Gley without farming for her parts in the special operation and void intercept boss fights. The way credits is earned in the game is you receive them by completing achievements, and it's given to you through mailbox in the beta. Now, we still don't know if there's any other way to acquire credits in the game, but for now it seems like it's limited resources you can gain credits only if you completed achievements. Once you have completed all, then you might not get any credits anymore. But like I have said, we still don't know if somehow the developers will allow us to earn credits through trading with other players, as from what it looks like, credits appear to be similar as Platinum in Warframe, wherein it's also a premium currency used to purchase skins and help players progress to levels easily. In fact, there was an interview done by Gaming Bolt with Nexon asking about the monetization in the game, and the developer answered that ultimately they aspire not to pursue excessive pay to win aspects. The monetization model will also not deviate significantly from games of the same genre. Paid products will indeed exist, but the characters, equipment, and stages that are needed for gameplay and progress in the game can be earned through gameplay. And then there's the caliber, which is another premium currency. Now, if you hover through your credit currency, the description says that credit a currency that can be exchanged for caliber and purchase special items in the game, which hints that we can actually get those premium stuff through grinding. To be honest, I was kind of scared when I found a skill module that was only for the ultimate version of VSA. I'm sorry if I don't have a footage on it, but there's this skill module called Absolute Zero that is only equipable on Ultimate VSA. My initial thought was, this is bad. since this will definitely force players to buy the ultimate version of VSO with real money if they want to try out this skill module for the character, and if it turns out to be powerful, then this is a red flag, definitely for players. Then I have seen credits can be acquired in the game, and this can be exchanged with Caliber, so I got this strong feeling that the same monetization aspect of Warframe will be implemented in the first Descendant. If you don't know, Warframe has one of the best free-to-play model in the game, as it even lets you earn the premium currency in the game. The only thing you can't earn are those Prime accessories, and they are bundled through Prime Access. If, somehow, Nexon will be following the same with their Ultimate versions, then there is an option for us to swipe that credit card, or just grind hard for those items. Eventually, the skins might also be obtainable when you have enough credits to exchange for Caliber, which are the main currency needed to purchase those epic skins in the game. So basically, if you are impatient, then you'll just buy those stuff, but if you are a fan of that old-school grind wherein you put work before getting epic items, then you will love the first Descendant. For now, take this information with a grain of salt, as I am just giving my thoughts based on what I see and hear from the beta of the game. Event shops might not be present in the launch date, but I got a strong feeling also that these event shops will be somehow like Prime Resurgence of Warframe, wherein every couple of weeks, different Descendants will be available for purchase with credits in the event shop, instead of just getting. All in one go. This will keep the players on grinding the game, because if they can't wait for the next rotation of Descendant, then they will need to keep playing and praying from RNG. But then again, monetization is to be judged when the full game is released, and for now, all we can do is speculate and pray that Nexon will not fuck up the monetization of the first Descendant. Speaking of monetization, I think Nexon should do something about their graphic details if they want people to buy their skins. Don't get me wrong, the game is gorgeous. The cutscenes has well-defined and intricate characters and scenery, but I don't know about you, but the game look blurry to me. I'm playing with an RTX 2070 graphics card and can max out all the graphics setting in the game. The only problem, though, is it takes a lot of memory in my PC, like 70% all the time, and my rig reaches high temperature that I needed to turn down some settings just to get the right load work for my unit. The game is pretty heavy when it comes to requirements in PC, and the worst part is the graphics looks like Armored Core 6 or Nier Automata, or Metal Gear 5 Phantom Pain to me. It felt weird because I played looter shooter with more outstanding performance when it comes to PC and the way they handle their graphics. Destiny 2 has way better graphics, and the same goes to Warframe in my opinion. They really need to fix that blurry images in the game, as it may also cause headaches or damage to your eyes. I don't know if you experience this, but while playing games with blurry images for long periods, I usually get headaches. Some of you will definitely suggest to get some glasses, but this is not just a health concern, but the blurry graphics in the game is hard to look sometimes, and it makes the game ugly. Also, I don't need to upgrade my 1080p monitor to 4K just to enhance the graphics, as that would be a total waste of money, and all I'm asking is to soften the edges and get rid of the blurry images in the game. This way, all players can enjoy it no matter what monitor and screen sizes they are using. Now let's talk about the story so far. So the main goal here is to defeat the Vulgus and get the Destroy the Iron Heart before they can use it, and tear down the Void to summon powerful Colossus and unleashed it to Ingress. The story is forgettable in my opinion, and it's poorly written. The story in the first Descendant is just like a sugar coating to the grind you are doing in the game. You won't even bother about the story once you start grinding the game. The characters are forgettable except for those NPC that you will need to visit oftentimes for upgrades and to buy stuff. If they want to create a lore community in their game like Destiny 2 and Warframe, then Nexon should hire a good team or get good to tell a great story. Sometimes the storyline are hilarious, especially from Jeremy and Alpha. They are two of the worst character with worst lines in the game. On the other hand, the main antagonist of the game named Karl and his troop are absolute badass. They impose their wills and have a strong menacing aura which would do anything just to achieve his goal. Meanwhile, our Descendants are being guided by a woman Johnny Silverhand-like character whose name is Guide. Yes, her name is Guide at the moment. And all I can say to this character is shut the fuck up, lady, I'm trying to get all the Descendants here. Honestly, there was nothing special from the characters in the game aside from Karl, the main villain of the first Descendant. But honestly, looter-shooter games are not really strong when it comes to storytelling. The best part about this type of game is obviously the shooting and the loot. You know why players are satisfied with the first Descendant beta? that no matter how others say to stop having fun, they actually think that the game is amazing, and even many did a kumbaya party while playing their congos in the last minute before Nexon shuts down the crossplay server? Well, it's because it's the perfect balance of challenge and rewarding loot. Okay, let me explain. Many are saying that there is nothing special about the first Descendant since it's just a copy-paste of several looter-shooter. For me, it's like Destiny and Warframe having a baby. This is the most accurate description for me, and yes, the first Descendant is just a clone game of other looter-shooter. The only thing that differs is that the timing of Nexon was right in making noise about the first Descendant, and they have applied the strengths of other looter-shooters into their game. Now, it's really early to say that the same concept are applied here, but we see remnants of the strong features of both Warframe and Destiny 2 in here. I think most of the players coming to the first Descendant are those who are Destiny 2 and Warframe players. Destiny players wants to have another title that don't sell them content that they already purchased, and they are tired of the developers' cash grab tactics. They want to experience something like Warframe that is free to play, but would also want to be challenged and not deal with trash mobs all the time. Also, Warframe players like me are interested with the first Descendant, since we have been grinding the same thing over and over again, and we would want to experience something new. A new farming space to be exact, and the first Descendant opens its gate for us, since it's also free to play. The progression of the game is basically Warframe. If you notice, how you farm materials for your ultimate weapons and Descendants plays exactly as how we farm prime weapons and Warframes with the relic system. First, you would need to farm amorphous materials from the special operations, either in mind-blocking or resource defense mission. Once you acquire the amorphous material you want, you will then need to go specific void intercept bosses to open the amorphous material. However, you don't get exactly what you need, but you get a chance to get what you want out of all the outcrafting materials that dilutes the amorphous material. It's the same exact grind as the relic system in Warframe, wherein you farm relics from mission, then you crack them open from Void Fisher missions. The only difference is these missions have tendency to be harder, and you would need to grind for hours to get what you need. On the other hand, Warframe Prime parts farming takes a couple of minutes, or just an hour to get all the parts you need for your Prime Warframe and weapon. However, the first Descendant is more rewarding in my opinion, since not only that you get Descendants and ultimate weapons from these missions, but you will also get skill modules that will change how you play your Descendant. You will also get high-level weapons that you can use or use to upgrade your ultimate weapons. In addition, you also get resources and gold to upgrade your modules in both special operations and void intercept missions. And to be honest, it's really fun hunting these colossi, as they are new and challenging right now compared to just doing the same mission while trashing mobs in Warframe. The boss fights in the first Descendant are amazing, and the best colossi I have fought during the beta are the Dead Bride, Devourer, Hanged Man, and the Frostwalker. The Devourer is a pain in the ass because of his healing phase, and I need to try some random bullshit in public matches just to finally down the boss and proceed to the hard bosses. The Devourer in the beta is like the gatekeeper of the hard bosses. To progress, you must face the wrath of the mechanized ape first. Then you'll be greeted by the Dead Bride once you step into the hard void intercept. This Snow Princess stole the powers of Gojo Satoru from Jujutsu Kaisen and will pull off a domain expansion at your ass, leaving you running for your dear life. And then there's the Hanged Man, which, if you don't shut its mouth, then it will keep in its enraged mode spewing lasers on your helpless soul. There's also a mechanic wherein you need to pull or return the cube, or your team will get wiped out with those lasers I saw from Netflix Alice in Borderland series. Many said that the way Nexon handled the Void Intercept bosses are similar to the raid bosses of Destiny 2. Well, I think it's not, and if you do want to compare it, then you'll need to go further back to one of the OG of looter shooter named Borderlands. In my opinion, the Void Intercept bosses are like Borderland bosses, wherein you need some gear checks and a small knowledge on how the boss mechanics works. Destiny 2 raid bosses are complex, and you would need to bypass a couple of challenges to finally meet the final boss in the raid. While in the first Descendant, you just hop into the Void Intercept mission and then shoot the boss until it gets down. By the way, the gunplay of the first Descendant, however, is similar to Destiny 2. It's satisfying to shoot enemies, and even how the skills work feels like a combination of Warframe and Destiny 2 characters. The best part about this is that it feels rewarding to defeat the bosses, since you will get a few powerful items that can enhance your Descendant, or you can even get the most insane modules for specific Descendants. The challenge is rewarded with a good loot explosion, and this is one of the things I love about the first Descendant. They didn't just put a bullet sponge boss, but a bullet sponge boss with extra tip to make the experience a bit challenging and fun. However, there are things that Nexon needs to fix to keep this level of fun while fighting a Colossus. First of all, there are exploits in the game that make the Colossus fight super easy. At first I thought it was just a skill module of Glay which makes the damage of your gun broken. But there were certain runs when I saw some fuckery that Glay can fire shots coming from a sniper rifle rapidly and with infinite bullet. We all know how hard-hitting snipers are in the game, and with Glay's fire rate, buff, and damage, it becomes madness that it can take down the Frostwalker in just a couple of seconds. Another thing that was bad in the Void Intercept mission was the requirement to enter the missions. Players must be level 40, so they have the survivability needed for this boss fights, but the developer made an exemption and let even level 1 Descendants participate in the public matches of the boss fights. This ruined most of the runs for me, as we needed to revive the level 1 Descendant over and over again since we didn't want him to go over the death limit, which is only 3, and this was not helpful at all since the boss fight also had a time limit. Instead of focusing on damaging the boss, you will spend more time dying if you are just a level 1 Descendant. The simple fix to this is Gate, locking the Void Intercept missions to Descendants that are level 40. In my opinion, this is better than ruining the whole run because you can't survive the fight. Anyway, based on my experience, it's fairly easy to level up your Descendant from 1 to 40, and it would take an hour to do so if you just did the Kingstone Resource Defense mission. Lastly, in terms of how you progress through the story missions, the first Descendant is similar to Destiny 2's story progression, wherein you need to finish this mission first before you can proceed to the next one, up until you face the boss and a new cutscene. When it comes to field bosses, they are just bullet sponges at first with invulnerability phases. You need to damage them until their health drop low, then they will turn invincible, and you need to shoot those balls hovering above them. Just rinse and repeat the process until you kill the boss. This is what the field mission bosses have to offer, and they also appear in special operations, but they become tougher to beat since their levels scale depending on the number of waves you did. Lastly, let's talk about future content. Based on what I saw in the beta, the first Descendant can expand their content by releasing new Descendants, weapons, and ultimate versions of it in the future. The same as Prime Access in Warframe. They will release new cosmetics and then new Void Intercept bosses. Also, they will continue their story quests, and I'm hoping that they will do better in the future updates. After that, it's up to Nexon what they will copy next from Warframe or Destiny 2. I mean, what ideas they can come up with to make the game unique. As I have said, the game is a combination of multiple looter shooters that we have all seen and loved in the past, and we are interested in playing the first Descendant since it made us feel at home. Since they have our interest, it's up to them to create something new for this looter-shooter game. Something that we never experienced before, and something that will further expand and diversify the content of the first Descendant. They already have the audience, and their problem now is keeping their audience entertained. Honestly, it all boils down to them creating good updates and not repetitive content to keep their player base active all the time. Some of us already quit our favorite looter-shooter because of the repetitive content or the bad monetization, and if Nexon follows the same practice, then all those hearsay about them abandoning the game after a couple of years will truly materialize. My overall experience with the first Descendant crossplay beta was fun, but not amazing due to exploits, sometimes crashes, blurry images, and players, ruining the whole run in the Void Intercept missions because they are low level. But honestly, all these things can be fixed, and I can say that the first Descendant is a fun looter-shooter you can play when all is working properly. It's just the beta, so we can expect things like this to happen. Aside from that, I have a good time playing the first Descendant, and I'm craving for more right now. The game has challenging fights, good, powerful loot as rewards, and a lot of boobies. I mean, aesthetically, the game is great, and if they can manage to remove the blurry images for all screens in the game, then we can appreciate more every asset that the Descendants possess. I can see a resemblance between Destiny 2 and Warframe gameplay mechanics in the game, and I don't mind playing another looter-shooter at all, since the first Descendant will be free to play, and if everything goes downhill, then I am free to leave without any regrets of buying anything from them. You may hate this game now because you think it's a clone of your favorite looter shooter, but having another competition in the looter shooter genre means that the developer of your favorite looter shooter should do something crazy in their game because they have another competition in the genre, which copied everything that works for them and might do some crazy shit in the future. For us, gamers who happen to love the looter shooter genre, this is an absolute win, since we can play another game in the same genre if we get bored with our favorite looter shooter, or there's no new content yet. There is no denying the fact that the cross-play beta of the first Descendant was a success, as it earned a lot of positive feedbacks from players. There are minor hiccups during the beta, but that can be fixed before the official release. As of now, we have seen the foundation of the game, and most of us think that the first Descendant has the potential to be a household name within the free looter-shooter genre. For us, gamers who happen to love the looter-shooter genre, this is an absolute win, since we can play another game in the same genre if we get bored with our favorite looter shooter, or there's no new content yet. There is no denying the fact that the cross-play beta of the first Descendant was a success, as it earned a lot of positive feedbacks from players. There are minor hiccups during the beta, but that can be fixed before the official release. As of now, we have seen the foundation of the game, and most of us think that the first Descendant has the potential to be a household name within the free looter-shooter genre.